Aston Villa's billionaire owner has blasted the Premier League spending rules amid Manchester City's legal case that is going on. And it has been widely reported that this could be the second legal case, the Premier League being sued again by a team currently backing Manchester City. Manchester City, as we know, are challenging the associated parties regulation that governs how the valuation of sponsors, especially if they have a connection to your owners. Aston Villa's billionaire owners are essentially challenging the amount of money that clubs can lose. They want the threshold for losses to be risen so they can spend more money. Of course, what has happened to the likes of Aston Villa and Newcastle, if people are sort of slightly confused on this, what I've read, what I've been told by some sort of people with this sort of education around this is their issue is they've spent quite a bit on transfers, but because they've both got into the Champions League, one last season, one this year, a lot of their contracts they offer the players are very bonus heavy. They've made it to the Champions League and suddenly wages and bonuses have gone up exponentially. And what happens at a lot of these clubs is they offer bonuses like you're on 80 grand a week, but if we become a Champions League team, you go up to 120, 130, 140 grand a week. And that then stays. Where a lot of the bigger clubs, we have a lot of deals where we'll pay 150 grand a week. But if we don't get into the Champions League, your contract drops to 90 grand a week forever, or until we're back into the Champions League. So what a lot of these clubs have found is they've actually achieved something they weren't expecting this early, and they've almost left themselves a little bit short. So, but if they don't get what they want for a vote, they're now threatening to sue the league and to sue the other football clubs for the sort of tyranny of the majority approach again. I wanted to get your take on this, gents, because we spoke about this last week at large. With Man City suing the Premier League, especially if they're successful, could this lead to multiple lawsuits for many other reasons?
Mo, you start this one.
I don't think this. I'm sorry. This new lawsuit or something. It's just, if you don't like it, just freaking leave, bro. Why are they still here? Sawirat, you're Egyptian and everything. Why are you still? If you don't like you signed one of this. You aren't. I'm sorry, and you don't have unlimited money. What is this? You're following the new trend of just suing the Premier League? Just go, just sign the Super League or something. Listen, I am not with FFP and the way it's done and all this stuff, but now everyone is now acting like I'm gonna sue the Premier League. It's like, okay, if everyone is gonna sue the Premier League, khalas, every club that doesn't like anything, Everton sues the Premier League, Everton. So okay, just everyone go play on their own league. What is this? What is going on here? Like, everyone that doesn't like anything, I'll sue the lawmakers. And it's not even the lawmakers. There is a voting system, and that happened. It's not. I actually think now the media make it look like, listen, I am against, and I sat here and I'm against PSR and this FFP the way it is now. But they make it look like it's only Liverpool, Arsenal, and Manchester United who make the law. Like it's like there is no other 17 team that vote on things. There is Wolves that vote on stuff. You know, Wolves wanted VAR out and everyone else vote. Like they make it like, can someone educate me from the chat, the people that say that we don't know things, and Terry and Osam? Do Liverpool get 5 votes instead of 1?
No,
in this?
No, Liverpool
get one. So Liverpool had the 1 vote, right?
Yeah.
And Brentford has 1 vote as well, right? Like
yes.
So why these people make it like it's on every time? They speak about a lawsuit about PSR and stuff like this. Bro, you can change the law, but you're gonna go to sue the Premier League. This is crazy. Brentford voted on this as well.
What I find interesting about it is I understand them being frustrated. They want to be able to spend more money, and in the short term, they want to be able to lose more money because they believe they can become successful and then earn more money. One of the quotes from him in his Financial Times interview is he said that some of the rules have actually resulted in cementing the status quo more than creating upward mobility and fluidity in the sport. Now, where I disagree with that is they're currently siding with Man City. Yes, City are right. City are right. City have gone from a team earning one of the lowest amounts of money in the league to within a decade being £5 million behind Real Madrid. So the idea that these rules are stopping teams from progressing, unless you believe City have cheated, is wrong. He then goes on to say the rules do not make sense and are not good for football. this is where I would push back against him. Is they're currently making losses of about 100 and they're currently making losses that are close to 105 million. Teams nearly went out of business 15 years ago for debts for between 40 and 70 million. We suddenly start allowing clubs to lose 130, 160, 180, 200 million. We start allowing clubs to run up hundreds of millions of pounds worth of debts, either to banks or to player contracts. All it takes is for a billionaire like this man to lose his money through a war, through an ash cloud, through a banking system collapsing. All these things would happen, and these clubs could be thrown into turmoil. And I do look at this situation and think to myself, we have to not ignore history, because it does have a very, very, very consistent habit of rearing its head again. I don't think there shouldn't be room for reform. There shouldn't be room to challenge. But the idea of every time a club now doesn't win in one of these democratic votes, they're going to sue, that could kill our game. That fundamentally could kill football, because I was looking at some of the things that City fans have been saying, that the rule on the associated parties is anti-competition. And you could argue that, and they might win. You could argue that not allowing a team to lose more money is like a restriction of trade, as an example. I'm sure that you could find a way of going back 10 years and looking at Man United and Liverpool not being given a bigger share of the sponsorship money and the TV money because we get the majority of the views. You could find the legal precedent somewhere, because lawyers are clever, where you could go, hang on a minute, we're out of pocket by over £1 billion here as Liverpool and Man United. We're now going to sue because two other teams have sued for things. You've got Wolves that could argue, well, we would have finished 5 places higher in the league last year, which would have been £8 million more in prize money. We're going to sue the Premier League in the democratic approach because people have voted to keep VAR, and we think we're going to be screwed again. You create this can of worms. You have to challenge it in a very different way. Now, some people say the voting system's flawed, and you could potentially look to say, okay, well, we'll do less than 14, maybe 11 votes, majority wins. Instead of 2/3 majority, we're just going to go with the majority. So 11 vote. But is that going to suffice? Are these owners, and this is the question, because I think fans will go, yeah, if you only have to get the majority to vote it in, so 11 out of 20, we would accept any of the rules and regulations in place. Fans might sit there right now in this moment and say that, but I don't believe all these owners will. And I'm not being specific about Man City or Aston Villa. I don't think that's how a billionaire's mind works. The problem with billionaires, and the one thing I disagree with Simon Jordan on the other day, is because it's a nation state, and nation states aren't used to being told no. I don't think billionaires are used to being told no. Billionaires in their life, generally speaking, they get everything they want whenever they want it. I've seen it firsthand. I was at a car fair once, and I was near this situation, and there was a gentleman. He was from Saudi Arabia, and there was this new car. It was a new Bugatti, I think, and it was a display model, but he wanted to buy it. And the guy kept on saying to him, and it was making me laugh, I was watching in awe of the money. He went, it's not for sale because it isn't a car, it's a shell. There's nothing inside it. But he still ended up buying it because he just wanted it, right? For me, I'm going, mental, but it's his money, right? So, and I've got no issue with that. If it's your money, you spend it on whatever you want. But I don't think any wealthy person, whether you're from Saudi Arabia, whether you're from America, the UK, or Australia, I don't think billionaires are used to being told no. And my issue with this situation is we are opening up a very dangerous, a very poisonous, potent can of worms, where certain millionaires and certain billionaires just want what they want in the moment, and they are not thinking about the bigger picture. They are not thinking about the wider ramifications upon the game. They just want to be able to spend now because this is what they want to do at this particular moment in time. And where fans have got to wise up, especially of some of these smaller clubs financially, and I'm talking smaller fan bases with smaller organic natural income. These guys start running up big debts, and we're going to catch the big boys. And then in 3 to 6 years, they stop and you go out of business. I want to hear no tears. I don't want to hear where's the FA, where's the Premier League, where are the big clubs helping us? And remember, none of these rules are going to affect Man United. We are so rich and have so much income. We have owners whose business is worth tens and tens of billions of pounds. And trust me, Ineos would love to pump 400 or 500 million pounds this summer into Man United. So I am not worried about it from my club's perspective. If all these rules come in through suing the Premier League, all that's going to happen is either the collapse of the league, worst case scenario, or best case scenario is we're just going to have a different set of teams that have the monopoly financially. But we're going to be in the same position again. And all these small clubs, and I'm talking financially, that are like, yeah, we're going to back City on this one to try and get rid of the red cartel. You're still going to be on the outside of this because you're still not going to be one of the richest teams. You're just going to suddenly in the next 5 to 10 years hate on somebody else. I think this is really dangerous. I don't like it. I think there is something poisonous about it. I think there's something dangerous about it for our league. Yes, challenge the rules. Yes, challenge the systems. But we are asking to go from a democratic voting system where the majority wins to almost a dictatorship where the minority can win. Surely that is far more dangerous and worrying in a sporting sense. Or maybe I'm wrong.
That is far more dangerous and worrying, and I have no idea why Aston Villa are challenging this rule. Like it will help Aston Villa become better. It ain't gonna help Aston Villa become better to begin with. You know, if it's the related parties thing, because to be honest with you, the ones that will gain the most from that are Newcastle and Manchester City. That's just how it goes. And unless Walmart want to sponsor Arsenal, or whoever want to sponsor Man United, Ineos, then it's a different thing. But at the end of the day, FFP and PSR and all these rules that are existing in football exist for a reason. Aston Villa could challenge Liverpool, could challenge Arsenal, could challenge City over the next 3-4 years. But they need to build a step-by-step thing where you keep your best players, you sign 2 or 3 players every summer, you get marginally better and marginally better and marginally better. You go from 4th to 3rd to 2nd to 1st to challenging to competing to stuff like this. And when you go to the clubs like the Aston Villas of this world, or even the Brightons of the world, there is a world actually in which FFP helps them compete at the top level, as long as they make right decisions in the transfer market. If you make ignorant decisions in the transfer market, if you make wrong decisions in the transfer market, you end up getting relegated. You end up, just not being successful, to be honest with you. But FFP actually helps the clubs like this, because exactly what Terry actually stands true, the monopoly over spending will remain with these clubs, even if these rules are challenged, because Aston Villa are never going to catch City. Aston Villa are never going to catch Newcastle. Tomorrow, Saudi Airlines could sponsor Newcastle for £350 million a year, and then we can all kiss the league goodbye, and we can all sit back and enjoy Newcastle get to 10 league titles just like City did. And suddenly, there's a new Professor Hamza on YouTube acting like he supported Newcastle his whole life. You ask him who David Ginola is, he doesn't know. So that's the thing when it comes to this situation. I have no idea why Aston Villa are challenging this. Like, I know they have a really rich owner and stuff like that, but you can never compete.
No, he's not that rich.
No, but you cannot compete with the state, regardless of rich.
Well, he's not. His net worth is 9 billion. He's not compared to the 1 trillion Emirati owners there, or the Saudi Arabia people that, as you said, can spend that much money.
Yes, and I want to show you guys that actually. So I've just went and got a graphic. So it's because it's not owned by him; it's V Sports that own Aston Villa, right? And this is why when people tell me, Terry, you're just bitter because your team's going to fall away, people don't realize what's happened to Man United since Ineos have come in. Man United now have the 2nd richest owners in the league because Ineos is so valuable. So you look at this list here, and it's a little bit small, but Newcastle at the top, 600 billion they're worth. That we all pale into insignificance. Man United are then next on 24 billion. Then Aston Villa on 17 billion. This is US dollars. Then City on 16 billion. But then it's Chelsea. Then it's Arsenal. Then actually it's West Ham. Liverpool then come after that. So I kind of get why Aston Villa are saying they want this to change a little bit, because they have an owner that actually has more money, that their ownership team has theoretically more money than Manchester City's in terms of the actual net worth of the actual owners that can pump money into this, as an example. But like I keep saying to people, I'm not talking about this from a Man United perspective. We're the 2nd richest team in England in terms of the ownership and what could potentially be pumped in. So when I hear people go, United, you're just upset. I'm not upset. I'm talking about protecting football clubs, because I genuinely worry. And I'm not even trying to be horrible or all it takes is for a war or a recession or a banking system to collapse, And the number of these billionaires can lose so much of what they've got and go, oh, I'm taking my money away now. You don't want your club. And I'm telling you now, I know people go, yeah, but maybe these owners can put money into a deposit and a bond. I agree with that. I'm not going to agree to give another $1 billion or $2 billion away to protect these clubs in case something goes wrong. Because if something does go wrong financially for them, they're going to want their money. Bloody hell, I've got £3 billion in a bond with the Premier League. They're not going to do it. They're not going to do it. And most of them, by the way, don't even spend their own money. They borrow the money to spend it. And they might all have the Roman Abramovich idea of, yeah, I'll never ask for the money back. Can we trust it? Really? I don't think we should allow that risk. The reward isn't high enough for me. So seeing all these clubs threatening to sue the Premier League, it's a worry for me. Again, people say it's because United are worried. No, we're richer than all of you other than Newcastle. And by the way, Newcastle's owners are richer than every other single club put together. As rich as City's owners are, like legitimately, they are poor in comparison. But yeah, it's genuinely crazy to me that people are
probably a Chelsea fan saying that in the chat because we triggered them. But
what are Chelsea fans saying?
I think it's probably a Chelsea fan saying that in the chat because we triggered them. But yeah,
maybe. And it's like you said, the monopoly will still be the same teams. Maybe Villa will find themselves in it as well. So maybe Spurs drop out and Villa join the monopoly. Cool. But then all the other clubs are then going to be annoyed that there's still a monopoly financially. It's just, and for me, I like the way we're regulating it because it gives everybody the chance over time to catch you. Yes. It doesn't matter that your owners are billionaires. Over time, if you're successful and you continue to improve, anybody can get to the top. If we allow it to be based on how valuable our owners are, the success will be based on how rich your owners are and not just on how well run a football club you are. You're still going to have to be well run. You're still going to have to be well run to a certain degree. But if we allow endless spending, which is, I think, where some of these people want to go in the end result, it will be less about how you're run and how much you spend because you'll just be able to buy whatever you want. And that, for me, is more of a worry. So we have to get a balance on this. But